قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله صدق الله العظيم. وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم المسلمون من سلم المسلمون من لسانه ويده. In the verse that I just read, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, كُنْتُمْ خَيْرَ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ, that you are the best group of people, referring to the Ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ, that has been taken out. You are the best group that has been taken out for the people. تَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ وَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, He gives us three reasons why our ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the best. Number one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, تَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, you command good. Number two, تَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ, you stop from bad. And number three, وَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ, that you have iman on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not consider us to be the best of people because of our skin color, because of our family, because of our clothes, or because of anything else. Only two things, iman of course, and then two things on top of that. Only that we stop people from doing bad and we command people to do good. Today, the Muslims have lost this quality, especially if we see in schools, for example, that bullying and teasing and these things, physical violence, still everyone knows that this is wrong, so we stay away from it generally. But munkar, meaning bad actions, includes hurting people with the tongue as well, making fun of people for any small thing. It's a normal thing in Islamic schools, I think even more than public schools, but it's very, very common that we consider it to be like the most normal thing, that all of our talk is just making fun of each other, teasing each other for anything and everything, especially regarding body features, which actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. No one chose how we were created. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created every single person without their choice at all. We have no choice in how we look. So actually when we make fun of people for their features on their body, we are making fun of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in Surah Al Imran, in Surah Hujurat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا يسخر قوم من قوم عسى أن يكونوا خيرا منهم. That, O people who believe, do not make fun of each other. It's possible that the people you are making fun of are better than you. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mean by that? Better in what sense? Better in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning they are closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that's why do not make fun of anyone because you do not know their status with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says that al-muslimuna man salima al-muslimuna min lisanihi wa yadihi, that a true Muslim is who the other Muslims are safe from his hands and from his tongue. Again, like I said, that everyone knows that hitting someone else is wrong. We don't generally have physical violence, but the tongue, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, includes the tongue. A true believer, he doesn't hurt anyone with his tongue, but this is something that we don't take seriously at all. It is very, very normalized. And we just say, oh, we're just joking, everyone understands, this is like normal, there's nothing wrong with this. But especially in a group, if one person is if one person is generally the joke of the group, right? So he won't say anything. He'll keep getting made fun of every day, every day, every day, and he'll stay quiet because obviously, like he feels outnumbered, and it'll keep going on like this, and he'll never ever tell you how he's actually feeling. Only in his heart, he'll feel, oh, he'll feel hurt, and we'll never know about that. And even if we are not actually taking part in making the jokes, but laughing along in a group, this is the same thing. We're still part of it. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you look at the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he never ever made jokes except it was the truth. He used to have a sense of humor. He didn't used to be only serious in his gatherings. There was always used to be jokes and humor. But it was never hurting anyone or talking bad about someone. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi and never lying, which is something very, very common in our jokes. We lie just to make fun of people, or just for a laugh. But what's more important, making other people laugh or staying away from something that's sinful? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Anas radiallahu anhu was a person who was a Sahabi who used to stay with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from when he was a very young child. He stayed with Rasulullah, I think he was like 12 when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. But in his whole childhood, he used to stay in the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He used to be with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam all the time. And he says that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam never ever scolded me. He never ever asked me, why did you do this? Why did you do that? And which means that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even if though he had the authority figure, because obviously he was much older than Anas radiallahu anhu, but he went out of his way to make sure he never ever hurt Anas radiallahu anhu, who was a child. Right? Even with children, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would make sure that he wouldn't hurt them in any way. There's a story that comes regarding Bilal radiallahu anhu. Everyone knows Bilal radiallahu anhu was, right? Who was his master? Anyone tell me? Yes. Umayyah bin Khalaf. Bilal radiallahu anhu was one of the first Muslims. He converted at the hands of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and later on Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu bought him. But Umayyah bin Khalaf used to torture him a lot. And the Quraysh, they used to torture him so much that they would get tired, and then they would take turns torturing him, and they would lie him down on hot coals and burn his back, and they would step on him. And all of Bilal radiallahu anhu used to say, what would he say? Ahad, right. Allah is one. And so there was a story that him and another Sahabi got into an argument, and the Sahabi said, you are the son of a black woman. Because Bilal radiallahu anhu was a slave, he wasn't Arab. He was from Abyssinia, today Ethiopia, right? So Bilal radiallahu anhu was hurt by this comment, and then he went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked this other Sahabi, did you say this? And Bilal, the Sahabi said yes. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, you have still a bit of Jahiliyyah in you. Jahiliyyah meaning the period before Islam came. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he scolded the Sahabi, and what did he say? You have a bit of Jahiliyyah in you, meaning that is not a sign of a Muslim to hurt another Muslim with his tongue. He doesn't say things that will in any way hurt another Muslim brother. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he could not take this. And so in another hadith we see Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says that Man ra'a minkum munkaran falyughayyirhu biyadihi. Whoever sees a bad action, he changes it with his hands. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِلِسَانِهِ. If that is not possible, if he cannot do so with his hands, then he tries to stop it with his tongue. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِقَلْبِهِ. And if that is not possible, then with his heart. وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ. And this is the weakest of faith. Nowadays, we don't we don't focus on any three of these, and not even a single one of these three steps. We don't stop when we see a group of people, or even if we're not part of it, we see someone being made fun of, we continue on with our life like nothing's wrong. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling us what a true Muslim is supposed to be doing. If we cannot stop with our hands, which is generally not needed anyways, we say with the tongue. We tell the guy, you're not supposed to be doing this. And even if we don't do that, if we are too embarrassed to do that, or we feel that we're not comfortable doing that, then at least we feel bad for the person. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying that we stop in our heart, meaning that we don't take any part of it. If this is going on, we walk away. We in our heart we feel bad for the person. We don't laugh. We take no part in it at all. To be part of the group is easy. Everyone does that. But to actually do the right thing and be different is hard. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says that man dalla ala khairin falahu mithlu ajri fa'ilihi. All it takes is one person. If one person starts this and all the rest of the people follow you, then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying that whosoever tells someone to do a good deed, he will get the reward of that person doing the good deed as well. So if we start stopping people from making fun of people, from teasing people, from bullying, then once those people will stop, we will all get the reward for that. And the first person, all we need is one person. One person starts the environment, and if the whole school, the environment becomes good in the whole school, then that one person gets the reward for everyone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he describes the Bani Israel. The Bani Israel, which prophet was sent to the Bani Israel? Musa alayhi salam. Correct. So the Bani Israel, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he talks about the Bani Israel in the Quran. He says, جعل الذين كفروا من بني إسرائيل على لسان داود وعيسى بن مريم ذلك بما عصوا وكانوا يعتدون كانوا لا يتناهون عن منكر فعلوه. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing the Bani Israel. Why were they destroyed? Because they would continue to do bad deeds and no one would stop them. The elders, the elders of their people, meaning the knowledgeable people, they wouldn't stop. They would let everyone just do their own thing, which is what we have, the attitude that most people have nowadays, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that the reason why they were destroyed and why they became so, later on what happened, the Bani Israel, they were rejected from, because they were so lazy, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them stay in the same spot for years and years. And Musa alayhi salam was with them, and even they wouldn't even listen to Musa alayhi salam. Right? So why did they become so disgraced? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says one of the reasons was because they would continue on doing bad deeds and no one would stop them. Their people wouldn't stop them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he describes the true believers. He says, وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتُ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. The Muslim, the mu'mineen, meaning the believers, are friends of each other. They do not hurt each other. يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. They command good and they stop from bad. In another hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says that the dua of a mazloom, of an oppressed, is never ever is always accepted. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and in this case, the person getting made fun of is an oppressed. And like I said, they won't ever say anything. But in their heart, if they make dua against you, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will definitely accept dua. And we have no idea, maybe we have some misfortune, many years down the road, something happens to us, we fall into some problems, some issues, and we don't realize that the reason for these issues today is because of what I said to that person this many years ago. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says that we'll say one word, and we will not realize the worth of that word, and we will be raised many ranks in Jannah. But at the same time, we might say one thing to someone that we will not remember for the rest of our life, but it will take us many levels down in Jahannam. And this is what we are doing today. We speak, and we don't think about what we're speaking. We keep on speaking and we keep on saying things, and 1 hour later we don't even remember what we said. But the person who was hurt by what we said, he'll remember that for the rest of his life. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says, "Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir falyaqul khayran aw liyasmut." Whosoever believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the last day, he either speaks good or he stays silent. If we have nothing to say, if we have nothing good to say, then we stay quiet. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says, then Rasulullah and then after, so one thing that we all need to do before, now we all need to start doing is obviously number one, we need to stop teasing ourselves. First, we need to focus on ourselves. Number two, then we need to try to stop other people. So we create a good environment in the whole school. And then number three is, before we go to sleep, we think to ourselves every day, what did we say today? Who did we speak to? What words came out of my mouth? And if we remember that we said something that could have hurt someone else, then we go to that person and ask for forgiveness. That is the main thing. And for the person who has been hurt by other people and they never came to ask for forgiveness, we should also forgive them, and we should also try our best to forgive them. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to inshallah to forgive them also, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to act upon what has been said. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.